Recording in progress. Recording is always in progress. Are you familiar with the Akashic records? The great yogis of antiquity and many of the great saints and sages and mystics of all spiritual religious persuasions speak of the great repository or reservoir of the recordings of all that happens in every moment of space-time. Huh. Boy, talk about Santa keeping track of who's naughty and nice. And uh, it doesn't miss a thing. And don't we wish that it would? Don't we wish that some of the things that we had done just maybe hadn't been recorded, that if we could just kind of keep it to ourselves, no one else really needs to know. And but ultimately it ends up being our greatest blessing and benefit that everything we ever do and think is recorded and is embedded in the universal archive of cosmic impressions. This is why cosmic karma conscious Claus is so effective at knowing who's naughty and nice and whether who gets presents or not. And here's an interesting thing. If you don't get presents, who's chatting with me? If you don't get presents, you get absence. So yesterday I made a mistake. First one ever, but I made a mistake I misdescribed, George Bush is back. I misdescribed the name of a word that has two different meanings, two different spellings, and one pronunciation. That's what I was looking for. That's not that easy. But such a word is called a heterophone or a heterograph. I really had to bend AI to figure out that for us, because yesterday I messed up. I called it a homophone. It's called a heterophone or a heterograph. So that's the word presence. Two different spellings, two different meanings. No. Two different spellings, two different meanings, one pronunciation. That is not easy. So the word presence, and we've been talking about it all week because that's what we really want. We want presents. When we were wee ones, we wanted lots of gifts. We wanted the big boxes underneath the tree. And if we noticed that our sibling had larger boxes or more boxes, that was a resentment that usually lasted well past Groundhog's Day, if memory serves. But now we're seeking presents because we're wise, intelligent adults, mostly. And the universe is keeping track of whether we've been naughty or nice. And if we don't get presents, we get absence. But here's something interesting, and this is what I want to point out today in a very circuitous, roundabout way, is that we're always getting presents. We're always getting the reflection of our own consciousness. We're always getting what we're paying attention to. Now, here's the weirdest thing about us human beings, and this really might be the weirdest thing of we who are a very unusual but wonderful species. I love humanity. It's the people that are kind of unusual. But what I'm talking about now is there's really no such thing as absence in the universe. There's just what we're paying and praying attention to. And by that I mean people who say that that they have a lot of lack in their life, or they're not getting a lot of presence, whether it's the cosmic kind or the material kind. They're really getting exactly what they're paying attention to. It is the most unusual aspect of human beings, is that we can pay attention to what we think the absence of something is. In other words, we're not practicing gratitude. Now, am I accusing anybody of that? No. Am I accusing myself of that? Yes. Because as a small-minded human being, from my smallest self, I can find myself in a condition where I'm paying attention to what I don't have or what I don't got yet or what other people have. In other words, I'm paying attention to absence rather than presence. Now, I'm learning slowly but surely, usually through the help of wise elders who've come before me and are still always reminding me, is to practice gratitude. Gratitude is the practice of presence, of being grateful for what is. And the more that we do that, the more that we draw in, we become presence uh, attractors. More and more good flows into our life. So while it is very human to think, boy, I don't have that and they got that, this is very childish on our part, on my part, isn't it? That all the other kids have bigger boxes underneath the trees. That when we practice this remembering of gratitude, being grateful for all the good that we have, that when it's raining, that I have a roof over my head, that I have a big fluffy cat, that I have wonderful friends who wake up with me and meditate every day. I realize that I'm living in an embarrassment of riches. My cup does indeed flow over. And this is simply a perceptual shift, isn't it? And so I'm so glad that the universe is keeping track of my consciousness in every single moment, that it's all going into the Akashic record, and that it's always reflecting back to me exactly what I'm paying attention to, because it reminds me that if I open up my clown chakra and let cosmic karma conscious Claus in, then all of that light will go down through my chimney, spread out through my chakras, and go out through my limbs. And then, in effect, I do, in fact, become a Christmas tree. I can hardly wait to transcribe this talk today, but at least we got the word heterophone out of the way. Love you guys a lot. I'll see you guys on Christmas Eve. I will be here bright-eyed with my tail bushed. Practice the presence in order to get more. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, can't turn my computer off. Every day's an adventure. There we go.